Thank you, Minister, kindly for providing some clarity and certainty, which is absolutely critical in order to deliver net zero heat and other projects across Scotland. Next up, we have somebody who's going to talk about one of those critical components of everything that we do, and that's energy. And so please put your hands together for Glen Harrison from Vital Energy.
Good morning, everybody. Well, my day, like John and Alistair, I started my day travelling. I started my day off in my electric car, drove from Manchester, stopped at Glasgow, stopped at Gretna Green, had a lovely cup of tea, and arrived in Edinburgh nice and stress-free. That was until my MD, who was used to give this talk this morning, he got in his car, fully charged up. His car liked the engine, the battery so much, it refused to give it up. So instead of Mike, I'm here today to talk to you about Vital Energy and what we're doing in terms of decarbonisation. So we can all learn this together. I've seen these slides about 5 minutes before you have. So bear with me, and we'll all get through it together. Okay. So that's me on a good day, apparently. So this is introducing Vital Energy. So Vital Energy is probably one of the largest utility providers you've never heard of. We are specialists and experts in decarbonisation. We've been delivering heat networks since the late 80s. So we've been around and been doing this and living this dream for a long, long time. Our business has developed from district heating into much more sustainable solutions. So we're also an IDNO, so we deliver critical infrastructure into projects. We look at energy conservation. So if you spent any time in Glasgow and you drive down past the old Clydebank harbour there, you'll see the fantastic Quay Heat Network, and we'll touch on that in a second. We are delivering decarbonisation projects right across the UK, and we've got a special focus in Edinburgh and in Scotland itself, where we have a number of our large-scale projects, which, if anyone's been involved in heat networks throughout the last 10 or 15 years, you've probably visited one of our energy centres because we do a fantastic tour. We also work with a lot of industrial and commercial clients and customers. So we are helping large-scale organisations, so not only industrial clients, but also people like Gatwick Airport. So at Gatwick, they have a £300 million target to spend on decarbonisation projects. So we are working on Scheme 1, Scheme 2 emissions. We're working right across the airport facility, looking at all the utility provision, looking at how we can make them, how we can look at energy use, drive down that energy use, and then look at all the options we can find for energy and decarbonisation solutions. It's a really interesting project at one of the UK's foremost airports, and a real landmark project for us. We're in the early stages of this at the moment now, where we are looking at the airport, trying to identify where they use energy, and trying to find out all those fantastic opportunities where we can reduce that energy. So we're looking at things like lighting. We're looking at, again, moving parts of the airport onto heat networks. We're looking at battery storage solutions. We're looking at solar solutions. So what we look at is, whenever we look at a project, we look to identify what the key challenges associated with that project are. Then we look to match that to what solutions are available to us. We also look at the geography, the geology, what other opportunities exist locally for that particular project to help us make it more, or decarbonise the project itself. So I don't want to read the slides to you, but essentially the plan is to decarbonise Scope 1 and Scope 2 emissions and reduce 50% of the core energy from that site. And we are looking to remove most of the gas network on that scheme. Ultimately, we want to remove all that gas network, but again, we're working towards that. Any ideas?
Not having any joy. Take sport.
There we go. Thank you. So the Torry Heat Network is a large-scale heat network in Aberdeen. There's 11.6 kilometres worth of hidden networking across the city. The city serves some of the most vulnerable clients across Aberdeen. So we've got lots of residents sort of right across the social demographic sphere. One of the key challenges on heat networks is to make the heat as affordable as possible for those customers. We need to make sure that what we do is efficient. So we're always constantly monitoring what we do in terms of heat network efficiency. So we're looking at the flow temperatures, the return temperatures, looking at every part of that network to see where we can make improvements to it, and making sure that those critical improvements get passed on to those customers to keep those bills as low as possible. So the heat network itself, it's been around for quite some time. It's a standard heat network using gas at the moment in time, but there are some plans afoot to look at different solutions for that particular network. And it's a fairly large-scale project across the north of Scotland. It's not just about working on the heat networks. We also look to engage the communities that we support as well, where we operate. So we look at introducing apprenticeship schemes to provide local jobs, local labour, to get people engaged and interested in the renewable sector, to try and create the future engineers looking at and focused on decarbonisation projects. We also look at supporting vulnerable customers in those areas as well. So we have lots of volunteering sessions, community engagement sessions. We also spend some time in the schools locally as well, offering climate education. So again, going there, talking to the children, making sure, giving them projects and exercises to work from, so when they go home and talk to their parents, they can also preach the dream and talk about the decarbonisation plans that the local authority has, but also take that into the home as well and how you can reduce your energy in your home. So it's not just about delivering the heat to the customers, it's also about trying to engage the community and deliver those important messages to the customers and the children. So the Queen's Quay network is the largest network, I think, in Scotland. It's the UK's largest water source network. It's fantastic. It really is a landmark building. When you go down the waterfront in Glasgow and you look across the Quay Basin and you see the energy centre there, it really is iconic. If you've seen lots of literature in the last 10, 15, or 5 or 10 years about heat networks, you've probably seen a picture of this network. It's architecturally, it's beautiful. And it's got some lovely heat pumps inside as well. So the scheme there, we are using 2 water-to-water heat pumps. We are taking water from the Clyde Basin, direct from the basin. We're serving 2,500 homes. We'll also deliver clean, affordable energy to the hospital and those residents that it will serve. So again, we're always looking for people to come around and talk to about these heat network projects. If you want to come and have a chat to us upstairs later on, I'm sure we can put you onto a little tour there and we can walk you around the site and show you what we can do. It really is impressive. How am I doing, John?
You're doing wonderfully well, my friend.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Now, unfortunately, the minister's left the room, so I was going to point this question directly to the minister. When we are decarbonising networks, we are generally moving away from gas and fossil fuel type heating solutions. Unfortunately, the prices of those fuels, well, not unfortunately, but those fossil fuel type costs have generally been much more competitive compared to the electricity rates. Now, moving people across onto heat pumps, unfortunately, there is a challenge there of affordability. So what we would ask the ministers for is some support for those residents and those customers that those networks serve to ensure that we can keep those bills down, we can deliver the decarbonisation for those customers and for those networks, but also make it affordable. We don't want to prejudice against electrification of heat because of the cost of the electricity. We want to try and find ways that we can make that sustainable and affordable. Now we'll catch up with the minister later. So I think that's me, John.
You're done. Brilliant.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.